Welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast, where feelings aren't felt and snowflakes melt. Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
These confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc! And let slip the dogs of war. To my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. Oh, I've chosen my words carefully, Persian. Perhaps you should have done the same. This is blasphemy. This is madness. Madness. This is Sparta!
They painted over ants.
Oh, hell yeah. Welcome back to the Two Grumpy Bastards. We come to you on a April Fool's Day. And I don't have any April Fool's jokes because nobody would believe me about anything I came up with anyway. So, Russ, we just played Kool and the Gang Celebrate for those of you on the YouTube side who don't get to listen to our little samples. Do you know why I played that? Everything has a meaning that I do. Do you know why I played that?
I did not, but it's a throwback song for me, which I'll explain in a second, but go ahead.
It is our 50th podcast, brother.
Oh, there you go. I forgot about that.
It's our golden podcast, everybody.
Like golden shower, but better.
Hey, I knew you were going to say that, and I was hoping you wouldn't, but I had hope. I had hope you wouldn't say it. Yeah, so it's welcome to our 50th podcast. I'm kind of excited about it.
Yep.
I am... Later in the podcast, Russ, remind me to do this. I have it written down on my show notes, but I'm going to give a password. And the first person that gets on Two Grumpy Bastards Facebook page and tells me what the password is going to get a free Two Grumpy Bastards t-shirt.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with a free dinner with us somewhere where they have to pay.
We could do a virtual dinner. I could call Grubhub in your city and have a burrito delivered to you or something.
And some Kool-Aid.
And some Kool-Aid. No, that's not going to happen. But you will get a free t-shirt and you can choose from the style. Two Grumpy, and that'll be on me. I won't charge you for that for our business expenses, Russ. That'll be on me. So,
and the celebration thing, just so you know, back a long time ago in a galaxy far away at the Carolina Lightning American Soccer League games, that's what they always played. As when the Lightning scored a goal. So it takes me back to my youth, like 8, 9, 10 years old.
It takes me back to my youth because I actually remember the song coming out and having the album.
Wow.
I got a little bit. I tell you what, one of the big TV shows that was it was must-see TV back in my day was Solid Gold.
Oh yeah. Because that's when you knew that the cartoons were over.
Yeah, exactly. And well, ours was like, it came on like Saturday night or some darn thing. But I remember sitting around watching it with my sister a lot. And, Solid Gold with the Solid Gold dancers. And I love soul music and old R&B. I do.
Well, and they used to play a lot of songs I liked, but because we were poor and I couldn't go to stores and buy albums and cassettes and stuff, when Solid Gold, when they were playing a song that I liked, that I knew that was coming on,
right.
Like Rhythm of the Night by DeBarge. I would have my tape recorder.
Way after my Solid Gold days, but yeah.
I'd have my tape recorder, and when the song came on, I'd be pressing play so I could record it off the TV, and then I had a cassette I could listen to later.
Hey, did you ever watch American Bandstand, the classic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, try to explain that to a young Gen Z person. Try to explain that show to them.
It's like trying to explain to a two-dimensional square what a cube is.
Right. I still remember my favorite part of that was always I just lost his name off the top of my head.
Dick Clark?
No, the guy that did the theme song, the most prolific writer in history.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you do. Barry Manilow. Yeah, he did the we're going to bopping, we're going down and rocking to bandstand.
Yeah, Judge Harry T. Stone from Night Court got it right when with his hatred of Barry Manilow. I don't know if you ever saw the episode. They do the court cases, and somebody showed up doing a public book burning, and Stone is all standing up, about to yell at him about the foundations of freedom and stuff. And Max says the book was The Genius of Barry Manilow, and Harry Stone's like $1 fine.
Hey, I like When Can I Touch You Again? Come on, it's a great song.
Don't sing that to me. I don't want you touching me again.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I chose that lyric.
You know, if we really wanted to go the April Fool's joke, we just end the pod right now.
Oh, that'd be awesome. We should.
Yep. But no, I can't do April Fool's jokes anymore because the
just
entire
have
world
an hour and a half of blank screen for the YouTube viewers. They'd probably like that, actually.
I'm sure they would.
Step up in the right direction. I got to tell you, I faced some discrimination twice. One of them had to do with our last YouTube video.
What was this?
Twice in the last few days. Well, a friend of the show and a old friend of yours, Lee Taylor, said something about me on our Facebook page, and he I guess he watched our video, and God bless you for doing that, Lee. We love you. But he said something about
speak for yourself. Speak for yourself, Coop. I don't love him.
Yeah, I love him because he gives you a lot of shit. So
ask about the time that we poured shaving cream down Cracker's ass.
No, I like me some Lee. He said something about Coop, you look like you're from the bloodline of the House Targaryen.
The bloodline. See.
And I'm like, I didn't say anything on the page, but I'm thinking Lee just used the euphemism for Nazi. That's what he did. He just covered it up cleverly with a pop culture reference. I'm not a Nazi. All right, everybody. I'm not.
No, that's only in your family history.
I'm not a fascist in any way, shape, or form. I'm an old-fashioned American libertarian. Just happen to have the haircut and some of the other characteristics and the eye color and the genetics. But anyway, moving right along from that. I also had some more discrimination. I had a VA appointment this week where I had basically a kind of a well baby check, where we reviewed basically my entire medical record, all my problems, all my whatever medical issues, whatever you have, and just an update, which was cool. And I swear to God, one of my medical problems, according to my 3,972 page VA report. That's how many I did my blue report before I went in for my appointment. Have you ever done the blue button report on there? Where it has
no, I don't think so.
All your medical records, everything. It said hair loss. It fucking said hair loss. And that has never come up in conversation ever. The only thing close to it is I remember telling one of the docs one time when they're reviewing my OTCs that I take and my supplements that I take biotin, and that gives you healthy hair and nails and skin. He goes, "Oh, is that for male pattern baldness?" I said, "I don't have male pattern baldness. Look, there's no spot in the back of my head." And he looks at my fucking forehead. All right. Now everybody knows that I have a very large forehead, but I've had this forehead since birth. If my dear mother was here, or if she could speak to us directly from heaven on the hotline, she'd tell you, yeah, that was like 40 hours of labor. So F you to the VA. I don't look at hair. It's beautiful hair. Look at it. It's healthy as fuck.
I thought when they said hair loss that they were doing a hernia check and said you lost your pubes.
Well, that's intentional hair loss, and that takes a lot of maintenance. But I couldn't believe that. I was like, oh, so somebody discriminated about the size of my forehead. Of course, my mom used to say when I was a kid, because I was self-conscious, because I have a large head. I have a size 8 hat size. Big deal. I'm also 6'3" and 250 pounds, so it suits me. But
so people won't comment about it to your face. They'll just do it.
No, they put it in my fucking medical records. Go ahead. Tell me I have a 7 head instead of a 4 head in my fucking medical records. I must have pissed off one of the doctors, and it was like,
shock.
Trust me, I've done that before with VA doctors and expressing my opinion about stuff. But again, as I always say, most of the VA providers are ridiculously good that I've come in contact with. Ridiculously good. Some of the best in the business. But I'm like, does it? Fuck off. I mean, it's a high hairline. I've always had it. Same hairline I've had. I'll throw up, next pot, I'm going to throw up my kindergarten school picture. You'll see. Same hairline. But anyway, I kind of took that personally. I will admit, I took that fucking personally. I'm like, What a chicken shit son of a bitch that would put that in my medical record. I probably said something and intimidated the shit out of them or something. I don't know. I can get a little surly when people don't tell me what I want to hear about my medical treatment. So I unfortunately am educated enough where I piss a lot of medical providers because, you know, I'm a medical school dropout, have the biology degree, some other medical experience. So it's like, yeah, no, you're not correct about that. So anyway, yeah, I also had an experience where this was terrible. So I was at a gas pump near home, and I was going into the store getting some stuff, came out, and oh, it's a different story. No, I was walking around during my appointment. Never mind. That I don't even want to tell that story. Yeah, I know. I confused two stories. So I was walking, for those of you who haven't been at the VA in Tacoma, it's a big campus, it's beautiful. Old school. And I was just walking around kind of enjoying myself in between appointments. And I came across and I saw this person come by that was eyeballing me. And it was a provider I had like 4 years ago that I hadn't talked to in 4 years ago. And she, you know, she called out my name and I turned around and I go, oh, hey, you remember me? She goes, can't forget that forehead, because I had a mask on. All you could see was my eyes and my forehead and my hair. And I was like, I couldn't believe she recognized me. And then I recognized her. And it's like, can't forget that forehead. I'm like, fuck, what is it today? What is it today? You know, that's okay. I am the only person I know that actually had a duck fly into my head, and that was at a funeral. That's a true story.
That's a visual that I won't get out of my head soon.
I actually had a mallard fly into my head once at a funeral during the procession. While on active duty, knocked my patrol cap off. It was interesting.
The closest I ever had was, I don't know if you know this, when I was a youngster, my hair was blonde. And I mean like almost white blonde when I was like 4 years old. So the little birdies used to love to come down and grab the straw off my head, apparently, to take for their nest. My mother loves retelling that story.
I just think with the
along with the fact that apparently I used to, when I was 3, used to enjoy the dog biscuits instead as opposed to teething biscuits.
Oh yeah, no, I used to eat that stuff. Growing up on farms and stuff, there was this delicious cow feed that was laced with molasses. I'd eat the shit out of that. It had corn kernels in it and pellets, and it had molasses mixed in it.
Like cereal.
I ate the shit out of that stuff. Yeah. Good enough for Bessie, good enough for me. Anyhow, we got a lot to talk about. I want to play some videos for you, Russ. I'm gonna play a few, and I'm gonna call this "They Just Don't Get It" segment of our podcast. I'm gonna play 4 videos of people who just don't get it. I'm starting with a really old one just to set the tone. And I don't remember if I played this before in a prior podcast. I did, but I thought we'd at least find it amusing. So let me get on the ball here and share one of my, damn it, I did it again. I closed that file. I
was assured you were the technologically superior, confident one of the group.
I am, but I forget that. Okay, here's the deal. Zoom uses audio files and video files. You pull them up differently. It's insane. I hate how it works. So I'm always like, and then I changed the whole organization on my hard drive of how our files are, that so it makes more sense, right? Of
course.
Yeah. So now
more
I have
sense
to
when we can't find it. Good.
I have to click through 7 levels of stuff to get to it. All right. Here is that video. You might remember this. They Just Don't Get It is the title of this segment.
I want to welcome these leaders for coming in to have this very important discussion about some of the most pressing issues of our time. I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
Do you remember that video?
I do, and I cringe every time I see something like that. That's the Vice President of the United States. Yeah, that just shows how far gone we are.
Yeah, the people that we put in charge, and when I say we, I mean the fucking idiots, the 50.1% of the people in this country who put the incompetent children in charge at every level. I was watching some of the exchange between Jordan and who was the other guy that was ripping into Majorca the other day?
There were a few of them.
Josh Hawley,
Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Senator Kennedy.
Ted Cruz lit him up. I couldn't find that video online. I was going to play that video later in the segment, or not this segment, but no, I was going to play it in this segment because Mayorkas is such a douche. I've never heard a high-ranking official be that disrespectful, refuse to answer questions. But this is at every level. And this dude that they tried to nominate as the FAA head of the FAA.
It's so incompetent even Biden couldn't get him through.
Yeah,
a Democratic Congress.
Yeah, the guy actually supervised school buses for a living. I'm not kidding. But he was he met the intersectionality requirements to be in the Biden administration. He had a skin color of appropriate color. It just choose people who can do the job. My God, it's so racist and so just disrespectful to people of color of any race when you do that to them, because what you're not saying, hey, I'm trying to give you a hand up or support. You're saying you folks are too incompetent on your own merits to really do this. So we're going to do this because of a immutable characteristic, not because of your qualifications.
There are plenty of qualified people of color who could have been nominated to that spot, but they probably didn't have the right politics.
Yeah, there you go. That's absolutely true. And when anybody ever thinks anybody with this viewpoint's racist, really think about who the racists are. We'll get along with this segment because I know the fourth video we're going to want to talk about quite a bit. So let me do this again. Let's see, which one do I want to play? I don't know if you've seen this one or not.
I actually have a question for you.
Oh,
you being an anthropologist, which anthropology is the study of human civilization, So if you were to dig up two humans, in 100 years from now, both man and woman, could you tell the difference? Strictly off of bones?
No, because it's a wide range of... I'm sorry.
Women have...
I'm not sure why I'm being laughed at if I'm the expert in the room. Have any of you been to archaeological sites? Have any of you studied biological anthropology? I'm just saying, I've got over 150 years of data. I'm just curious as to why I'm being laughed at when
I believe it or not, I have put a lot of research into this.
So did you see that?
Yeah. I saw it. First of all, that's Riley Gaines, who has become a superstar recently. She was one of the ones knocked off the stage in favor of the man who tried to take over women's swimming and shattered all the records because he was a man and they needed the eyeball saying that he was a woman. But yeah, the person was like, I don't know why you're laughing. I have a PhD. Well, good for you. You're still an idiot. I mean, it's very clear. You can tell male and female bones differently, different hips, different bone densities, different cranial capacities, so on and so forth. So yes, I can't tell you which one of the 150 other genders you may have been, but I can tell male and female from the bones if I dig them up 100 years from now.
One of the most well-known atheist biologists, evolutionary biologist, Stephen Jay Gould, completely agrees with you, by the way. And to say he's an atheist doesn't take away from his intellectual prowess.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about Richard Dawkins, because Richard Dawkins said something very similar recently.
Who did I say?
William J. Gould.
I said Stephen Jay Gould. My bad. I've read his books too. Richard Dawkins. Yeah. Thank you for the correction.
And Dawkins and I agree on almost nothing else. But even Dawkins is like, look, this is science here, folks. Sorry.
Yeah. The guy is so left that he makes left people look like they're in our camp. And he always has been. And he's an avowed atheist. And he's not just an atheist that doesn't believe in God.
He's a militant atheist.
It's his job to destroy Christianity. He's one of those guys. But yeah, even he agrees, which, you could say, well, if you don't agree with him on anything, why do you agree with him on this? Well, because it's his only non-left point of view.
And he got taken to task on Twitter when he first asked the question.
Yeah, no, I know. They eat their own, and some of them learn from it, some of them don't. You get guys out there like Dave Rubin who learned a while back about that type of eat right mentality. One of these days, you're going to see more of it come out and out, like some of the celebrities. So yeah, I am having a bad day with names today. I think I'm a gabapentin brain today. Our guy who has his talk show on HBO.
Bill Maher.
Bill
Maher is slowly coming along.
He's slowly coming along, and I heard him condemn the whole idea of he was really pissed off about he said liberal hypocrites. And one of the issue, which to me is a small issue, but he's talking about the environmentalists who fly private planes.
Oh yeah.
And that's a smaller issue to me, but it's an important one because it just illustrates the absolute hypocrisy.
Yeah. Well, you should hear him talk about electric cars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I've heard that rant too. So it's just, you get people that are so, I think, brain wired that he'll probably never vote for a libertarian or a Republican. I don't know. It just crazy to me that these folks have these views and they're seeing the light, but they're going, but I'm still going to vote for the same people I was like, I don't get it.
It's going to take a complete societal collapse before it'll change.
You just abstain from your vote then. If you feel like morally you can't vote for the Republicans because they're not, like, climate change is not as high on our list as it is. I said our.
And that's his biggest thing is climate change. That's why he won't vote Republican.
That's why he won't vote. That's his big thing. If the Republicans embraced climate change a little, I'm sure he would swing. Which is, I've never respected anybody who's a one vote or a one issue voter. Yep, I had a lot of friends I grew up with who became teachers, and they instantly swung into the Democratic Party. Growing up in a very conservative, practical, pragmatic, logical kind of thinking way, working class, and swung to the Democratic Party. And it's because the teachers unions are far left and they're brainwashed. And a couple of the guys I grew up with who were very funny, very conservative dudes. Oh my God, I saw their Twitter feed a while back. I don't talk to them anymore, but I saw their Twitter feed. It's like any liberal cause that comes on there gets reloaded, and I'm just like, oh, the BLM days. That's when I just quit even looking.
But like, how much of that is I'm sure it's what they believe now. How much of it was what they really believed versus how much of it was what they were saying to try to get laid? There's a book that I read called How I Accidentally Joined the Vast Right-Wing Conspiracy by Harry Stein. And he talks about, he was in college in the Vietnam era, and one of his buddies was organizing an anti-war protest. The dude was pro-war before this protest. He was organizing the anti-war protest as a gag. And a couple of girls came up to him and were like, oh, this is so good. I'm so glad you're involved. That he instantly became anti-war because he suddenly found out that he was able to get laid a lot more on that side.
Yeah, but the quality.
Yeah, well, but it also depends on what you're.
Give me a Lauren.
There are attractive people on both sides.
Of course.
The ones on the left are usually a lot more, how to put this, willing to give it up. But it really depends on what you're going for. Are you going for a relationship? Are you going for something a little more intimate? Or are you just wanting to get your rocks off? You're just wanting to get your rocks off, go to the left.
I'll take Lauren Boebert over Nancy Pelosi. Sorry.
Well, I would take Gollum over Nancy Pelosi.
Bad example, cherry picking, but I just don't have any desire. Yeah, you're right. There's some beautiful girls on the left, and I have been, guilty of, not guilty. I was a healthy, virulent man, but in general, I'd rather have a cowgirl, a flag waver than a pierced, no shaven, shrill harpy. So who has a bunch of.
You're actually going to have to engage with the cowgirl. You're actually going to have to be a human being to them, not just a piece of meat and someone.
You have to actually treat them with some modicum of respect.
Yeah.
And when girls say I find it sexy, Christian males and la 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 and they don't call it that, masculine. Just masculine, good guys.
Being a man. Yeah.
Being a man. Yeah. We've talked about, that's part of what this podcast is all about, our mantra, but get it, mantra. You're welcome. All right. I'm going to play the third video here. Did you see my computer fucking background on the first two videos? Did you see
I thought I did.
Okay. Well, that was a mistake on my part. Hopefully I don't have any sensitive information. My tabs are, I don't.
Well, I did wonder about the triple midget bomb, but I mean, hey, who hasn't done that?
Different. That's come on. At least I'm not reading it to school children. I keep my fetishes to myself. Thank you very much. And nobody believes that because everybody knows I'm deathly afraid of midgets. Everybody knows that. And that's okay that everybody knows that. All right. This one really, really got to me this week. I was gagging when I was listening to a podcast in the shower over this one, and I heard this come up and I was gagged. Here we go.
Hi, Benji here, and I'm going to explain what digital blackface is. Digital blackface is when non-black people use images or emojis of black people to express emotion online, often extreme ones like anger or disbelief. Sometimes images are edited to indicate blackness for this purpose. The intent may be innocent, but digital blackface, like the original use of blackface, exploits blackness through media for entertainment. The overuse of these images also reinforces negative stereotypes that drive racial discrimination. We can use images of people that are a different race. It's okay to enjoy popular culture. We should just be conscious of the impact the media that we share online may have on communities with less privilege. For example, if you find you always use images of black women to express sass, consider the negative stereotypes you're reinforcing and how this might reflect your own unconscious biases, and try a different image next time. Hope that helps. Bye.
How sad is it that folks are so desperate to fight racism that they're finding it in any nook and cranny they can and making it up when they don't have it. That's not to say that there's not actual legitimate some racism out there. Obviously there is. That's part of the human condition. But the demand for racism far outstrips the supply for it, to where we're now claiming that memes are racist. I mean, I don't know. I guess, then some folks don't get to use, white memes about Honey Boo Boo and the little girl in the backseat of the car who's like wondering, whose face is used to show that they don't know what's going on, that it's stupid. That is people. When people say you can't define woke, well, I can define woke. That's it. It's the weaponization of political correctness in the desperate attempt to find discrimination and oppression where none exists.
Where none exists is a key phrase, and that I 100% agree with you. To paraphrase one of my heroes, Adam Carolla, we're in good shape when we're calling stuff like this racism.
Oh yeah.
We have no more problems, apparently, or as he also likes to say, it's a good time to be an actual racist because nobody would know the difference between you and every other white person on in the country. And then the virtual signaling white folk who are always on there. I've mentioned this before on this podcast. The yard signs, you see them even where I grew up in a rural logging town and agricultural area. Rural Americans against racism. You virtual signaling fuck. And oh by the way, thanks for being disrespectful to every other rural person living in this town or everything else. Because that's
they're racist.
You're perpetuating a racist assumption from the left. And it doesn't need to be said. If you are a racist, then you deal with it. I assume you're not racist when I meet you. I assume of any color, of any whatever, and whatever. So that video is disturbing just because of the individual in it. My favorite part is these are evil, stupid people, narcissists, and that smile they always give you. They have to bare their teeth and they have to do that because because sociopaths don't know how to smile. Yeah. It doesn't come naturally to them. And that's the truth. Biologically.
That's why I look so psychotic in pictures when I try to smile.
Right. Everybody knows I'm not a narcissist because of my ridiculously irritating laugh and my propensity to do that. But it's just, I guess we have no more problems because now if a meme was racist, it would be obvious.
Oh, yeah.
I used to put out, which I thought were hilarious memes, but they made fun. And I don't think I'd do it again. Well, I might. Maybe I should start again, but I know Facebook wouldn't allow it now. I remember there was a photo that I put out years ago that I thought was hilarious. And it's two obviously German soldiers from World War II. They have the helmet, and the uniform, and they're bent over what looks like a computer screen. I don't know if it's a radar screen or whatever. And the other one was pointing at it. And the meme was, "Oh, look, Hitler liked one of my Facebook posts." It's funny. It's fucking funny.
Here's
I don't think I'd get away with that now.
No, but here's something I've enjoyed recently, and this shows you where we've gone. Have you ever seen the Colin Jost Michael Che joke swap for Christmas?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
And for those that don't know, Michael Che is the black guy on the Weekend Update, and he gives they do this joke swap where they will write jokes for the other person that the other person's never seen. Colin Jost is a white guy married to Scarlett Johansson.
He's as white as it comes, too.
Yeah. And Michael Che will write intentionally
part of the
super
shtick.
racist jokes. And if you've got a sense of humor at all, what you understand is the joke itself is not what's funny. The discomfort of Colin Jost having to read these things is what the point of the joke is.
They are so overtly racist that, yes. And great one. I just saw recently on a Facebook reel. They have those on Facebook reels, like small snippets.
Yeah, I got addicted to those.
I watched YouTube on it too, because I think it's brilliant. I think both of those guys are just awesome because they're blowing all the racial stereotypes out of the water by the big time racial stereotypes that they talk about. And one of them was like something about Yost was saying the joke was basically about how he was running a meeting the other day, and he was afraid. He goes, I don't know if this is racist or not, but I assumed all the black people that were coming to the meeting would be late. So I ended the meeting 5 minutes in. I'm like, that's hilarious. Because then he wouldn't have to see any black people. Obviously that's the joke. Yeah. And he gets so fucking uncomfortable. And
the funniest one of those that I saw that Michael Che had written for him, he'd done like one or two jokes already. And then Che had read a couple, mostly about like Michael Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. And then it goes back to Jost, and a picture of Martin Luther King comes up, and he just throws his hand and goes, "Why? Why?"
Also, I saw one recently where it was Yost was reading a joke, and it was something about, I'm not uncomfortable reading this. What makes me uncomfortable about reading this joke isn't actually reading the joke. It's that a black guy is holding the cue cards, and then it shows a black guy holding the cue cards, and he's like,
thanks, dog, you're fired. Merry Christmas, or something like that.
Right. Okay, let's move along. We're going to get serious here for a minute. I bet you've probably seen this video too. This video is one of the most offensive videos I'll play in the history of our podcast. So I just want to let our YouTube viewers know that if you have a sensitive stomach, you might want to turn away from this video. Not that part. That part's hot.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
So do you know what that speech was about, where he came down and said that before the speech?
Absolutely. I know the context of that. That was him coming down about to give remarks on the school shooting in Nashville by a trans person. He couldn't keep it somber serious. He decided he needed to make jokes at first. He is a disgrace in office. What I said, I think a week ago or so, is sometime I would like, and I haven't had this since George H.W. Bush's presidency, I would like a national leader to come on screen where I don't cringe when they start talking. And Biden is one of the worst at that. This wasn't like he didn't know. He came down, and a good half of his remarks were about the Nashville shooting and how he thought we needed to enact an assault weapons ban, and all that stuff. This is right after 6 people, 3 of them children, 2 9-year-olds and an 8-year-old, had been shot by a very mentally disturbed trans person, a woman who claimed to be a man, who apparently left a manifesto detailing why she did this, which the police will not yet release, which I'm sure the news media is going to be very hesitant to even touch, because it's not going to reflect very well on the trans community. It's going to show a lot of anger. It's going to show a lot of hate. It's going to show the intentional targeting of Christians. Let me preface this by saying I do not condone political violence in any way, but the shooting would have made more sense if she had targeted politicians who were making certain laws. That's at least going after sources. I don't agree with it. I think political violence is way out of bounds, but that's more attacking a source. This person intentionally attacked children, children who have no sense of what these political arguments are. Just that they happen to be Christians and they happen to be attending a Christian school. That this very disturbed individual attended, and there have been a lot of folks in the news media who have almost tried justifying the shooting by talking about the laws that were being enacted in Tennessee and other places. Terry Moran from ABC News, for example, couldn't help but note after talking about this that, oh, by the way, Tennessee is where they just passed a ban on drag shows for minors and banned surgery and genital mutilation and hormones for minor children, implying that it was the fault of the state of Tennessee that this happened. A sports reporter, Michael Wise, for ESPN, liked a tweet that talked about how there's almost understandable rage and complexity and nuance in this, but there's no nuance in this. This was an evil person who attacked children. And thank God for the Nashville Police Department. As soon as I saw the video of how they took down this shooter, I said, somebody in that group is former military. And it turned out that one of the police officers was a former Marine, because that's how you clear a hallway. That's how you clear a room.
Yeah, their tactics were almost impeccable.
Yeah, much better than the coward in Parkland, Florida, who went and hid in the parking lot while the Parkland shooter was killing 18, 19 high schoolers. Far better than the cowards in Uvalde, Texas, who waited outside for 45 minutes while children were being killed. You know me, I'm an infantryman. Our job is to rush the sound of the gunshots. I told somebody this recently, that the biggest thing that I took out of my time in combat was that if, God forbid, I ever had to do it again, I know I could. Those cops reacted the way that they were supposed to. And if you have that job, that's what you signed up for. You don't sign up to hide when the bullets start coming. You signed up to go towards the bullets. Those cops were heroes. And the tragic part is they couldn't save more of them because they just couldn't get there in enough time. I think they got there in like 3 minutes. Yeah. Something like that. This person broke in, shot the janitor right away. The headmaster of the school rushed the shooter. She got killed right away. One of the kids that got killed tried saving others by pulling the fire alarm and alerting the school. The rest of them went into lockdown. The only, if you even want to call it, good thing that came out was that by shooting down this monster like a dog, is it saved the rest of us the expense and burden of a trial. Because I don't know that she would have gotten the death penalty. That's a rarity in Tennessee anyway. And given the politically sensitive nature of who the perpetrator was, I'm doubtful they would have gotten the death penalty. I would have preferred to see that person have their entrails taken out and have them hung by it. And I'm hoping that she's roasting in hell as we speak.
Yeah, all well said. I honestly don't have a lot to add to that. I am not somebody that's going to jump on a bandwagon and label a group of people. Every group has their far to the right, left. I don't mean politically. They just have, it's a distribution, standard distribution. And that bell curve works in almost every situation on planet Earth. She obviously, and I'm sorry,
fuck her pronouns.
Yeah, she obviously had some ridiculously deep mental health issues. But here's
you know what her pronouns are now? Was and were.
There you go. Here's the thing about having those type of mental health issues. There's treatment. Most people with mental health issues don't become mass murderers. Most people with mental health issues don't become homicidal. A lot of people with serious mental health issues will have legal trouble, will have issues come down the pike, and it's kind of understandable if you're educated about certain things. By the way, Walsh is on my shit list. For
what do you do?
Oh, he was deriding a certain mental health diagnosis deeply that I actually have, saying it doesn't exist. So I'm gonna try to have a conversation with him about that. Yeah, it's fucking really, really disrespectful if you ask me, but Walsh gets that way.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This person didn't need society to reach out to her and say, everything you do is okay. Every feeling you have is okay. That's part of the problem that fed that. If you go up to somebody with PTSD who has, social anxiety disorder and can't be around crowds and start saying, yeah, you're right. Fucking people suck. I would never want to be around people. Yeah, that fucking idiots, man. Everybody's out to get you, bro. Everybody's out to get you, bro. Instead of like putting that person through some type of immersion therapy or, EMDR or something else, that person is going to have a serious fucking incident when they're in a crowd. It's going to happen. I guarantee you. So this propaganda from this cult religion on the left that feeds into this absolutely is responsible for what happened to those fucking kids and those 3 people who are in that fucking school and that church. I'm sorry, but it's fucking emotional about this. That is the people who are to blame. And she's to blame. Yes, the mental health is also to blame, but there's ways to treat people. There's ways to keep people from doing that. You can't save everybody, but not everybody with a serious mental health issue is going to act like that. Okay? So fuck everybody who thinks, oh, and it's not so much the media that's blaming so much as they're doing the red herring, bro. They're introducing and I say bro when I'm upset. They're introducing false analogies and a lot into the system by saying, well, if the Republicans ever would have supported gun control, this never would have happened. Blow me. You handle this a lot better than I do these things. More genteel. I don't care. If you think that, go flush yourself down a toilet somewhere because you don't deserve air. That is the stupidest thing ever. This is somebody who I don't know if she had there's no way to know if she had an underlying or genetic mental health issue she had a mental health issue.
Her parents had said she had documented emotional distress issues previous. And as I'm sure with all of the prior mass shooters, more stuff's going to come out where there were plenty of red flags beforehand that people ignored or brushed off until this person snapped and went off on her tirade. And again, Nashville, release the manifesto. If the manifesto even slightly hints towards something to the right, they release it, like that. So release this manifesto. But I think it's going to cause people to be uncomfortable. You notice how quickly the Club Q shooting in Colorado went by the bylines when it came out that the shooter claimed to be non-binary and had a non-binary mother, because suddenly it didn't fit the narrative any longer. And so it disappeared from the headlines really fast. The gun control thing is a non-starter. I know you say I'm genteel. I more prefer to think of it the way I prefer to needle and how I handle that. There is not, the primary purpose of a weapon is not to harm the innocents. It is to protect innocent people. And you can't wave a magic wand and just get rid of all the guns. It just never happens. People like to point to the UK. They say, well, the UK had a mass shooting in, I think, 1996 and got rid of all their guns. Then they haven't had a mass shooting since. Yeah, you know what? They didn't have a mass shooting in the decades before that either. Look at the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. There were 0 school mass shootings in the UK during that time frame. So you can't take one isolated incident, say they got rid of all the guns, and that's why they haven't had a mass shooting since. That's garbage. Same thing in Australia when they had that mass shooting and tried a bad back program, which, by the way, was a massive failure. They estimate they got maybe a third of the guns. But, you got to look at the consistency of this. How prevalent were these incidents before and then after? Not just after, but how much did this happen beforehand too? And the usual is not much. Okay, look, these shootings are tragic, but we need to find ways to respond to them, to find the signals beforehand. I had this argument online with somebody earlier who was like, you don't need a certain number of guns. I'm like, well, you don't get to tell me that. They're like, well, we'll pass a law. I said, if you can pass a law, I'm going to tell you, go fuck yourself. And if you want to physically come after it, then you're going to need guns of your own, because it's just not going to happen. people may say you're paranoid or whatever, but look at the history of disarmed populations. They don't usually go real well. What I always say is armed people usually do not load themselves into boxcars for shipment to death camps. All right. You have a means to fight back. Governments typically do not fuck with armed populations. They don't push them too far to the point. Gun control it doesn't work. Now, there are laws that should be in place that are in place. Background checks. I agree with background checks. Find out if somebody's a felon. All right. But there are certain, maybe, and I'm still trying to think through the red flag law issue with, how do you protect due process? How do you have the presumption of innocence? Somebody once tried to tell me, well, if you're on the terrorist watch list for boarding a plane, you shouldn't have a weapon. I said, absolutely not. And they said, well, why not? I said, well, because it's an administrative list with no legislative or judicial oversight.
Right.
There's no way to know you're on it. There's no appeals process to get off of it. And in our country, you don't lose rights except through due process. And if you have enough evidence to deny me a constitutionally guaranteed right, then you need to charge me and bring me to court. You don't need to just some bureaucrat somewhere because my name is similar to some IRA guy, try to take away my rights. That's not how things work in this nation. I can go on and on about this. My passion for this. I don't have any less passion. It's not an accident that the founding fathers made this the second amendment to the Constitution, right below the first. Some try to say, well,
the first. Second protects the first. That's the way it is.
And some folks have tried to say, well, you support banning, free expression and books in schools. I'm like, no, I'm saying that children do not have the same legal rights of consent that adults do. All these books that folks are saying are banning is bullshit. Nobody's banning any book. You can go into any, bookstore or public library in any of these states and find these books. What we're saying is, hey, maybe we don't put graphic discussions of anal sex and sucking each other off in elementary schools. Okay. You wouldn't put a Playboy or a Penthouse with access to a third grader in an elementary school. These other books are as graphic, if you've ever actually looked at them, and I have, just to make sure I know what I'm talking about. And they are graphic. Okay. And again, if you want to go read that stuff, fine, go somewhere and do it. But this all ties back to, in terms of the transgender issue, if you want to, wear your hair however and call yourself whatever, do it. I don't care. But I have two issues. Number one is when you try to shove it down my throat and tell me I have to celebrate it, fuck you. I'm not celebrating dick about that because I don't agree with it. You go be you, but don't try and force me to celebrate it with you. The second thing is when you try to push it on children. That's where my red line is. Okay. Children are not capable of legal consent. There's reasons we have statutory rape laws. There's reasons why parents can't do whatever to their children. Bill Maher brought this up. If you had a child that thought they were a pirate, would you schedule them for leg amputation and eyeball removal surgery? That's just not the way it works. If it's that important to you, then you can wait till you are a legal adult, at least 18. There's an argument to be made to waiting to the age of 25 when the human brain finishes developing. But at the very least, waiting until they are a legal adult. But they won't do that because they know that most folks who suffer from gender dysphoria, not all of them, but most folks who suffer from gender dysphoria outgrow it before they reach legal adulthood. And I don't know if you've ever seen the saga of Jazz Jennings. That is one of the saddest, most tragic stories I've ever heard, where they started transitioning Jazz, I believe at the age of 11, from boy to girl. And now Jazz is very mentally confused, which is understandable. I have nothing but compassion for folks. I can't imagine what it's like to feel like you're living in the wrong body. Okay. But I have compassion. I have compassion for a whole bunch of mental issues.
Not to make a joke, but I kind of feel like I'm living in the wrong body right now because I'm like 25 pounds overweight, but if that makes sense.
Yes, but you can do something about that.
I can. All right.
We could
lighten it up here a little bit.
I know, but here's a way we could solve that real easy. We could amputate one of your legs. That would remove some poundage, wouldn't it?
Hey, if you amputated my head, that'd be like 75 pounds.
Of concrete, yes. I'm just looking for the bolts on the side of the head here and see if, But
valid. More like horns.
Look, I want folks who have some of these delusions to get treatment, but you don't help someone by buying into the delusion. I've said this a few times online. I stand by it. You would not treat an anorexic by telling them, yes, you are too you are too fat and you need to lose weight. All right. You would not treat a schizophrenic by saying, yes, those are real voices in your head. You need to listen to them. Okay. These are mental health issues that we need to treat with compassion, with thoroughness, and not just be mad because the world is mean.
100% agree. I'll wrap up with just a couple final 2 points. I got a hard out in about half an hour, so we'll wrap the segment up if that's all right with you. I think you've said some really brilliant stuff here. Number one, with the guns thing, just really quick. I will be happy to talk about this in the future podcast and give you my stats about open and carry conceal and the amount of violence in those communities percentage wise based on stricter gun law areas. The one thing I can tell you that's an absolute 1-for-1 correlation is every time they raise the ante and pass something like the assault weapons ban that was passed in the Clinton administration or any of those kind of laws, violence and crime go up in that state or the country. It goes up. It does not go down.
Criminals don't obey the law.
That's right. And criminals perceive that they have a wider range to roam with their violence and their crimes. That is an absolute societal fact. If you don't want to wake up and smell the coffee, I mean, hey, all these leftists who thought it was a good idea to defund the police and let Chaz exist in Seattle, how do you like me now, fuckers? When I was talking about what was going to happen. To get serious just for a second again, somebody who does suffer from some, who struggles with mental health throughout a large part of my life. I am very fortunate that I am a soldier, a former soldier, and that I have the VA because the VA has outstanding treatment modalities. They're on the say what you want to about the VA. They're on the cutting edge of this stuff. They really are. They have outstanding personnel. They have outstanding doctors, psychologists, social workers out that they have outstanding programs where people can go outpatient, inpatient, what have you. The Pacific Northwest is a center of excellence, the Seattle and Tacoma VAs, for instance. So I'm, but on the general society at large, our mental health is broke. It's broke. To get equivalent help out there and with some of the stuff that's available here, you're going to pay $280 to $400 an hour for somebody with a doctorate to sit down and talk to you. You are. And a lot of those folks don't take Medicaid or United Healthcare or any of that kind of thing. And to get into, say, an inpatient program, unless you're incarcerated or something like that, and you can get, it's months wait. Try to get into a mental health only inpatient program, unless you are held against your will, which almost never happens. Cops don't deal with that. Access sucks to mental health in this country, and it needs to be addressed as a root cause, because I can tell you this real quick. I misspoke earlier. She absolutely had an underlying mental health issue. She had gender dysmorphia, and nobody ever dealt with it in a correct way. Go ahead.
And to go off of something you just said a second ago, yes, in the 50s and 60s, our mental health institutions were obviously broken. They were doing some dangerous things. They weren't treating things right. But we've reformed a lot of that, and unfortunately, a lot of folks have made it so you cannot involuntarily commit people who are clearly a danger to themselves and others anymore.
Right.
A lot of these people could function normally in society if they were made to take their medication. And I don't mean doing this willy-nilly to anybody, but if somebody has a proven mental health issue that can be corrected with medication, I'm talking schizophrenics, paranoid delusions, those kinds of things, then we need to stop worrying about being nice and actually say, all right, you have to take these medications or you are going to be institutionalized because you are a danger to society. And our lack of will to do that is one of the things that helps lead to tragedies like this.
Two things can really make the difference, and two things work. And it's not that they don't work anymore. It's that the access to those things is not readily available, because if people get an entry into the system, then the system can track them and they can progress through inpatient to intensive outpatient to, I have an educational background. It works. The high failure rate, but it over time, it works. It's medication and talk therapy. That's the formula. It's pretty simple. Just like if you don't want to be fat, diet and exercise. Okay, due to some injuries, I haven't been exercising and my diet sucked, which changed recently, which I'm very happy about. So, and I'm going to the gym every day again.
I'm just the opposite. I work out almost every day, but my diet, I don't know that it'll ever.
You have the diet of a ninth grader on crack, dude.
I do. I mean, fried stuff with cheese, that's like my diet. And then the occasional chocolate.
Anyhow, I know we were going to try to talk about Trump indictment, but why don't we save that till next week?
Yeah, let's save that till later because that's probably going to take up a whole podcast.
Yeah, we'll save that because it's kind of been, he's been indicted and nothing's really happening over the weekend anyway. So let's.
And everyone's aware of it. So let's do something light.
Let's do something light. So we have a segment that we're going to do every now and again, folks. This being our 50th golden podcast. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. All right. Wait, I'm backwards. Don't say it. I never get used to that. Don't say it. There we go. I could non-mirror my deal. I know that I could put that on settings, but I never do. I don't know why. I can cut my own hair though, so I should be able to figure this out.
Well, that's good. You don't have to worry about cutting bangs.
No, it's nice, right? Again, healthy hair. Look at that. Beautiful.
Up there, because the bangs would cover the forehead.
That's. I used to have nice bangs when I was a kid. So anyway, this is the segment we're going to call Dad Jokes. So Russ and I are going to have dueling dad jokes.
These are usually the ones I've grown at online, even though I know a lot of them. But I usually give people a bunch of shit online when they do these.
I know, but we're going to do dad jokes to close out our 50th podcast. Hope you enjoy. Russ, do you want to play Rochambeau for who goes first?
What? Rochambeau?
Yeah, rock, scissors, paper. Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
No,
sure. You don't want to play rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock?
I don't know that one.
Watch The Big Bang Theory. Anyway.
Actually, do you want to go first? Do you want me to? I'll let you decide.
I'll go first real quick.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Why don't seagulls fly over the bay?
I don't know why seagulls don't fly over the bay, Russ.
Then they'd be bagels.
The trick is to try not to laugh. I know you will probably, because you have no sense of humor, so you probably won't laugh at any of mine. What did the ocean say to the other ocean?
I know the answer, but I'll let you say it.
Nothing. They just waved.
Oh, I thought it was going to be nice to see you.
Oh, I guess that would work too. I like mine better. Nothing. They just waved.
Right. What do you call a fish with no eye?
I don't know. Fish with no eye?
A fish.
Why did I not see that one coming? It's terrible of me. Hey, did I tell you I went shopping for some clothes and I bought a sweater recently? It was, I put it on and it was full of static electricity, so I returned it. The salesman though, good guy, he gave me another one free of charge.
Oh, jeez. Kind of like, a neutron walks into a bar, orders a drink, the bartender says, for you, no charge.
Good one. I've heard that one before with my physics background, but good one. Is that one of yours, or you haven't?
I just heard that. Let me try another one. Let me think. Why'd the man put money in the freezer?
Say that again. I didn't get that.
Why did the man put money in a freezer?
I don't know.
He wanted cold hard cash.
Oh God, that's terrible. That's terrible. Okay, hey, Russ, did I tell you I was going to start a new diet?
No.
Yeah, I just feel like I have way too much on my plate right now.
Oh, God. I feel dirty for even telling these.
I love that. That's a good one. Go ahead.
What do a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common?
I don't know.
They're both parasites.
Okay, that's pretty funny, actually. That's a pretty good one. Oh, well, I told you I've been trying to get some more exercise lately, so I went and played baseball yesterday. Had some fun. I was wondering why the ball was getting bigger, and then it hit me. You're welcome.
Well, this will tie in with your forehead. So How does the moon cut its hair?
I don't know.
He clips it.
All yours are puns.
Okay, I only know 25 letters of the alphabet. I don't know why.
That one's good. That one's good. Oh, I wish I'd heard that one. I would have used it. Of course, we both would have had it. That's a good one. I'm going to remember that one. I know mine are all kind of like story format, but I kind of like them this way. So, a couple days ago, I was griping about my electricity bill with the neighbor. My neighbor, being a kind of a woodsy guy, he says, get a fireplace. I said, hell no. Have you seen chimneys? They're through the roof. You're welcome.
Feel my IQ dropping.
That was my last one, by the way.
I got a couple more. What did the janitors say when they jumped out of the closet? Surprise!
I knew this one. Yes, I've heard that one. I heard a racist version of that one.
I have too, but that's why I didn't go with that one.
Okay. We could. That one's actually pretty harmless.
Yeah. What kind of music do chiropractors like? Hip hop.
That one's pretty good too. Are you done, or is that you got more?
Let me see. Let me think. I think I might have a couple more. Would the sink tell the toilet you look flushed?
What's that?
Would the sink tell the toilet when you look flushed?
You look flushed.
Last one. When does a joke become a dad joke?
When?
When it's apparent.
Da 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 da. I'll definitely dub in some appropriate music for this segment.
Oh, please do. And then while you're at it, just you see how white I am already. See if you can do something to take the rest of the color out of my face, just because I just feel my soul being sucked inside myself from those jokes.
Oh no, we're going to be doing this again sometime. We had some pretty good segments. I was trying to remember some of the segments we had in the past, kind of similar to this, but
commercials were good.
Oh, I really, I got good comments on the things we hate that everybody else likes, or things we like that everybody else hates.
Oh, we need to keep doing that.
That one's fun. That one's fun because that stuff pops into my head all the time. I became really good friends with a guy a few months ago who really talented musician, and I accidentally told him how I thought the Beatles sucked ass, and that happens to be his very favorite band in history, and he thinks the greatest musicians who'd ever lived. And then he went off and played like 5 Beatles songs flawlessly, which I enjoyed listening to because the guy's a cool dude. And then just a very, very talented guitarist and vocalist. But I was like,
going to hell?
Oops, oops, sorry. So
I'd have told him that he had somehow sold his soul to Satan, and his opinion was wrong.
Knowing him, he might have. I think he listens to the pod, and he may be one of our. I'm kind of rattling up advertisers right now, and he's got a business that he may be advertising with us. So I better be careful. No, he's a good dude. He'll think this is funny. I told him. He asked me how everything was going. I hadn't chatted with him a while. He texted me, "How's everything going?" And I said, pretty good. I'm over the COVID, but now it looks like I broke my ankle again. It blew up on me about 5 years ago, and doing the same thing, taking a step off the stairs, and boom, there I was on the ground. And he got used to my personality because he would say stuff. He was sick, or people. I go, with all due respect to our female listeners, because I don't like to use the word pussy, because the vagina is the strongest organ in the universe. I said, so how's your clitoris doing? I would say that a lot to him. So I told him that, and he texted me back, okay, sorry to hear that, Coop, but how's your clitoris?
You deserve that one.
I did. I had that one coming. No pun intended. All right.
God.
You're welcome. Well, let's wrap it up, Russ.
Came in. Kill me now.
Hey, the good news is I'm on a bit of a spiritual sabbatical for a bit, and I'm staying in a cool place, and my internet is a hell of a lot better. My Wi-Fi is a hell of a lot better than it is at my house.
So I'll get this week.
Yeah, I'll get this. Actually get this uploaded and the video uploaded today. How do you like them apples, guys? When I tried to upload the video for my house last week, I actually went to bed, turned off all I didn't allow my phone to Wi-Fi, nothing, didn't watch my YouTube videos all night like I normally do. And when I woke up, it still was only at 43%. My internet is garbage.
Your internet makes me sad.
I'm going to badmouth CenturyLink again at this point. Worst company ever. What are they, like Lumen or something now? They changed the name of the Seahawks stadium to Lumen Field or whatever it is.
Maybe they needed to because CenturyLink sucked.
Well, yeah, but no better. The company at the bottom is no better. So it's horrible where I live, but I got it rocking here. So I'll get this edited and uploaded probably in the next couple hours.
Real quick, there have not been a lot of companies that have bought out other things and gotten better. You look at, for example, something from our youth that was just awesome was Pizza Hut.
Oh, yeah.
When it got bought out, first of all, I dare you to try to find a Pizza Hut restaurant anywhere. I don't know where any exists. And second, the pizza is so much worse. It's just, it's no longer special.
Funny you say that, because we were having a conversation. I was with neighbors, loyal listeners to the pod, John and Jackie, one of my good friends from the Army. And we went to Pizza Hut a few weeks ago, and it's a sit-down restaurant, which they don't have a whole lot.
Wow.
And ordered the pizzas, now I think Pizza Hut's got pretty good wings for being mass produced. I enjoy their wings. Okay. So I'll go ahead and get wings on my way home or something. But so we went and sat down, and I was just reminiscing, because Pizza Hut was like a huge deal when I was a kid to go to Pizza
Hut. Same here. That was a big night out.
A big night out. And, special. I mean, maybe once every few months for us.
Yep. Same here.
For the Coop family. And Pizza Hut had the video games. They had the table video games of like Miss Pac-Man.
Galaga.
Yeah, Galaga and stuff like that. Oh my God, that was huge. I remember that. And the pizza was amazing. We had a franchise called Shakey's back in the day up here. And you could watch the dude spin the pizza when you're a little kid.
I've actually heard of it.
Yeah, and that pizza was fantastic. But yeah, Pizza Hut is weird, but it's still, I really still think it's better than Domino's or Little Caesars. I really do. I really allowed to even say this.
Yeah, but that's like saying if you had to eat a type of manure, better to get the hamster pellets than the horse turds.
Hey, for my money, taking home a Papa Murphy's is one of the better pizzas I think you can get for the value.
Real quick story on that you'll appreciate. Our listeners might too. I don't care. But there's not a Papa Murphy's around here. But when I lived in Kansas, there was a Papa Murphy's near us. And my wife took our youngest to get a Papa Murphy's and bring home. And she's by the soda case, and she says, "Mama, can we get a Coke?" She's like, "No, honey, we have soda at home." And she goes, "Oh, damn it." And the cashier kind of looked up, apparently. Said, "Did you hear her?" Said, "What?" Says, "What she said." "What'd she say?" Said, asked her again. Said, "Honey, we can't get a soda. We've got soda at home." She goes, "Damn it." And she looked at her and said, apparently she's been around her father a little bit too much. Because I guess, so I got the scolding at home when she got home with the pizza, because my youngest had decided to imitate something I said, either watching football or some other thing.
Did you tell her it's circumstantial evidence that it would never hold up in court?
Yeah, well, it's also similar to one last thing. You've seen the movie The Martian, right?
Yeah, that's a very good movie.
Okay. There's really only like maybe one or two cuss words in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Amelia was on the couch watching it with me. And she was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 at the time. And it's right after Matt Damon finishes planting the potatoes, and he drinks his grape juice, whatever, in satisfaction. He goes, "Fuck you, Mars." And from the couch, Amelia goes, "Fuck you, Mars." I'm like, oh my God. The only instance in the entire movie.
Right.
And that's what she did. She decides to imitate.
That was a really good use of profanity, because it really emphasized the feeling, instead of using it every other word like I was when I was passionate there. But I really only cuss that much when I'm really angry and passionate about something. So it's kind of the same thing. Except I use it.
My audience, I'll cuss 17. A lot more around soldiers than I will around like church members.
Oh, sure. No, I feel letting the F word fly even around a female at all feels weird to me. Yeah. Until they give me permission. Like, oh my God, I got the mouth of a sailor or a truck driver. I'm like, all right, then we're cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, before we get off, I need to record a new commercial because it's a little bit out of date, because it talks about Elon Musk not owning Twitter yet. So why don't you go ahead and give us your pimp your books a little bit, your writing career, please.
Okay, well, I have 5 published novels. They range everything from supernatural thrillers to political action thrillers to science fiction. I write under the pen name R.D. Meyer, because if you ever Google Russ Meyer, don't do it from a work computer. Just trust me on that. Look for R.D. Meyer on Amazon. My best novel, in my opinion, is Salvation Day, which, broken down very briefly, is about a guy who tries to kill God. A lot more complicated than that, but that's the basic gist. But my best seller is Schism, which is about a Second American Civil War based on Red versus Blue. And it's not pimping one side over the other. I know y'all know I'm fairly conservative. I'm not pumping up red. Schism is simply a cautionary tale of how bad things can get if we let our passions run away with us. Because I've been saying for several years, unfortunately, I think we're headed off a cliff and nobody realizes it. And then we're going to be, looking back with regret one day, wondering how we got there. It's because just like in 1859, 1860, we let our passions get overcome our better selves.
Yeah, I've been following Russ's writing career ever since you weren't a published writer and you wrote your first novel, and I read through it. And it's been an interesting progression, my friend, and interesting subjects. And I thought your vampire book was your bestseller, but no, Schism is, huh?
No, Schism is by far. It's got over 100 Amazon reviews. It's gotten me a moderately steady stream of money. Nothing that I can retire on, obviously,
Right.
But it at least has made me some money.
Well, yeah, it was hard for me to. It took a lot of time. I should get like a free signed gold copy, because it took me a lot of time to have 100 different freaking aliases to log into Amazon. That took a lot of time.
I'll sign it with the golden shower.
Fuck.
There's right into that one.
I do want to say, join us on different formats and forums. The video is fun, kind of, I guess, if you like to see what we look like and
see my various twitches and
your facial
tics.
Yes, and
the gap between my teeth.
When I get red in the face and pissed off, it's kind of entertaining. I bet.
The gap, but I didn't notice how bad the gap between my teeth was until I was on the Endless Ranters podcast. I'm sure everybody else already knew about it, though.
Yeah,
I want to thank my mother for gifting me with that, because she has the same thing, so it's passed down from mother to son.
I'll send your tongue to care package, since it's in jail for life. So I'll do that. Get it? Yeah. Anyway,
it's about as funny as the rest of your jokes.
My jokes were awesome. I'm going to get great reviews on my jokes. I am. What else do I want to say? Oh, so we're here on YouTube, and we're here on all the podcast outlets. YouTube, we're the Two Grumpy Bastards. I would really appreciate you guys subscribing to that.
Leave us some comments. Stir up the shit.
Comments are fine. The one comment calling me a Nazi asshole fuck and telling me I didn't deserve to breathe. Thank you. I appreciate it. It wasn't quite that bad, but yeah, it was pretty bad. But mostly positive comments and reviews out there, and I appreciate it. On your podcast outlets, we always appreciate a good review or 5-star. If you do less than 5 stars, don't do it. Just go away.
You just told people to write 1-star reviews, right?
I know. I don't believe in reverse psychology, so I'm gonna beg instead. That works. That seems to work for the rest of society.
That was my entire premarital sex life, was called begging.
Yeah. I thought it was them like begging, like, "Oh, Russ, please stop, please stop, knock it off, please."
Oh, I believe that I was where the term pity fuck came from.
Oh my God. Hold on a sec. I got to get my composure here.
Zinga.
Anyway, so the podcast is a little different than video. We do some stuff on the podcast that doesn't make it to the videos. Would appreciate you. We're a good listen on your drive, or if you want to have a laugh or get pissed like us. And if you disagree with us, great. Just be respectful. That's all I ask. What else do I want to say? We have merchandise. It's twogrumpybastardsmerchandise.com. Russ, I got 2 new t-shirt designs that are going to come out in the next couple of days. I've been working on. I think you're going to like them.
Awesome.
We have some good stuff out there, and we could certainly use your help. We are on Patreon, Two Grumpy Bastards on Patreon as well. We're all over the place. Instagram, Two Grumpy Bastards. We are on Twitter. I haven't touched Twitter in months, but I'll get that revamped and talk to you guys about that.
I should probably hit up that sewer again at some point.
Yeah. I've heard I've heard improvements, at least as far as people like you and I think, since Elon's taken over. So taken over. Since he took it over, it's great. Yay!
Elon would agree.
Probably shouldn't shout that loud. Anyway, we appreciate it. We do. This was our 50th one. It's our pleasure to serve you. We serve at your pleasure. And anything for our folks before we get out of here, Russ?
No, just soak in the wisdom.
Soak it in, baby.
You can soak it through a golden shower if you need to.
Like a spermicidal sponge. Soak it in. That was horrible.
Yes, it was.
It was bad. All right. From the two grumpy bastards, remember, keep your focus and stay wokeless.
Later.